Welcome back to Prison Confessions with Christian. Let's talk Orange is the New Black and how similar is it to real prison life. If you're new here, my name is Christian. I did a 5-year sentence for 54 counts of obtaining a controlled substance by fraud in violation of drug distribution law across 3 counties in South Carolina. And I spent 2 of those years at Leith Correctional Facility in Greenwood, South Carolina. So if you guys didn't know, Orange is the New Black is actually based on a true story of Piper. But it does take place in the federal prison system. Now, something kind of similar between myself and Orange is the New Black, which I always thought was funny, was the fact that Piper and Alex were girlfriends and kind of committed the crimes that got them sentenced, where they ended up in prison together, which is exactly what happened to myself and my girlfriend that I went on the run from drug court with. We ended up going to prison together, and it was a nasty situation. So in Orange is the New Black, Piper actually turns herself in. And I think that is an option for a lot of federal cases, possibly, but that is not an option for state cases, at least not in South Carolina. So when you get to prison, you have to go through reception and evaluation, and it's basically where they're going to classify you. They're going to do all of their medical testing on you to see if you have any kind of health problems. They're going to do mental health testing, psychological testing. All of this is going to determine what yard you're going to be placed on. Now, in reception and evaluation, you have different uniforms that separate you from people that have already been assigned to a yard. And Orange is the New Black did get that correct. If you've noticed in Orange is the New Black, when they're first getting in there, they're given orange jumpsuits that keep them separate from the rest of the population who are wearing tan jumpsuit or tan scrubs, which is what our scrubs were in prison once you got to the yard. I believe they're teal now, but you get what I'm saying. So that was similar or almost the same. Now, in Orange is the New Black, there was kind of an open layout. You'd see once they got into the general population, there's kind of an open layout. Now, at the prison I was at, they didn't have that open layout. They had rooms, or we called them dorm rooms. But there was the other prisons in South Carolina, I believe, had more of an open layout. Chow time, very similar. You got your chow times. Each building has a specific time, and the yard sergeant will call you to chow time. And you walk to the cafeteria and you go in a little buffet line, and they actually serve you on your tray, and you go and you sit down at tables and you eat. Another similarity in Orange is the New Black is that they do something called out of place. So if you're not where you're supposed to be, you're supposed to be in a certain area at all times, and you can't go outside of that area. So you're not supposed to be in another inmate's area. You're not supposed to be in another inmate's room. If you are, you can get something called out of place, which means you could go to lockup for that. All right, let's talk haircuts in prison. In Orange is the New Black, you saw that they have a salon. Absolutely, we had a salon in prison. Whether you were a mask like me and just needed, your edges trimmed or whatever, you could go and have that done. And if you were a femme and wanted just to have a perm or have a short little trim or whatever the case may be, they had that. You could go every 6 weeks, and you signed up by building. And yes, the inmates did all of that, and the inmates always kept my cut looking fresh with that low fade. One of the things in Orange is the New Black that still to this day gives me PTSD is count time, ladies, count time. Every 2 hours, count time. And they had to do a count. The prison had to do count multiple times a day to make sure everybody was accounted for. And when they do count at 10 o'clock at night, after you've already been come off of rec, you've been showered, you're all nice and comfortable getting ready to go down for the night, and then they're like, count time, ladies, stand outside your doors. And if a male ever comes on the unit, male on the unit! Relationships between inmates. Orange is the New Black nailed it. 10 out of 10 no notes. Commissary. So in Orange is the New Black, was it Yang ran the commissary? So inmates do run the commissary, and you actually go up to commissary with a list of stuff that you want, and you hand it to the inmates, and the inmates fill it. I didn't see any really sassy ones like Yang at the commissary, but yep, very similar to Orange is the New Black. Let's talk about famous people in prison. So Orange is the New Black kind of touched on Martha Stewart being in prison with them and how she was kind of given preferential treatment. Same goes for people like Susan Smith. If you have a notorious case and you are not in PC, you are absolutely going to be popular on campus. Did we have any people like Suzanne Crazy Eyes in prison when I was there? Way more than one Suzanne Crazy Eyes where I was at. So if I had to compare myself to anyone on the show, it would be Alex. Period. So my overall assessment of Orange is the New Black, yeah, it's pretty similar. They did a really good job of recreating what life is like inside a prison. Now, I don't know if that's the same on the CO side of it, because obviously I don't know about that, but they got the inmate part of it pretty good. So if you have any questions about certain scenarios that happened in Orange is the New Black that you want to know if it happened when I was in prison, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Bye, y'all. Oh, by the way, I will be live again tonight, 8 Central Standard Time. See y'all then.